Hello, it is the 22nd of February 2011, and this video will be much different than the normal ones that are on this site. Normally I talk about silver, technical analysis, that sort of deal. I'll do a little bit of technical analysis on this box score by Watson. Watson's a supercomputer on IBM who last week was doing an exhibition 2-day match on Jeopardy. I will put the links to these episodes in the more information box down below. And those episodes will explain more towards this computer as it played Jeopardy, and it did very, very well. On each question, what it would do is it would give it its top answers, actually top three, and say how sure the computer was within the answer. If it wasn't sure, it wouldn't ring into the answer. If it was sure, then it would. And the way these stats work out is on the top it says CPU, or the computer confidence. And it would state, well, we're 93% sure the answer is this, 85% sure it's this, 37% sure it's that, whatever. And the way I've put this in a box score is the top one is any time the computer was at least 90 to 99% sure, and 80 to 89, 70 to 79 within that range. And when it was 90% sure, it was usually around 96% sure, and 84, and so on and so on. So what it did on the top questions, it got 46 out of 49 correct when it was 90% sure. If you would have asked the computer how many of those questions it would have thought it got right, I would have guessed around 47.1. And really, all I did was I took 96.2% and I multiplied that by 49. And then I got 47.1. That's how these numbers are calculated. The percentage multiply the amount of questions that were asked. So overall, the computer got 88 right and 29 incorrect. It was 72 and about 3/4 sure on the average question. So the computer, based on taking 72.76 and multiplying that by 117, which is the amount of questions it answered, was 85.1, or at least that was the amount that I was able to get. There was one Jeopardy question where you're able to make the wager where it never was able to give a result. Same with the Final Jeopardy. The first Final Jeopardy question was based on U.S. cities, and the computer said the answer was Toronto, which obviously is not a U.S. city, but it had a bunch of question marks. It didn't state how sure it was, but I'd have to imagine it was somewhere in this level because it had like 6 question marks on it. And the second Final Jeopardy question, it got correct, but once again, I'm not posting it on here because it didn't tell me its percentage confidence on Final Jeopardy. Now, as far as rung in and not rung in, when it rung in the answer, it got 66 right, 8 incorrect. Now, you can look at these ones, the low ones. Well, why would it ring in when it was 30% sure, and especially at 10% sure? Well, those were the daily doubles, and it had no choice but to answer those questions. So it did very, very well. And computers can be very smart. We've got the top Jeopardy players in the world now beaten by a computer. We've had the top grand champion chess master being beaten by a computer. So it was interesting because Ken Jennings said at the end of the show, "I for one welcome our new computer overlords," and I have to totally agree because I totally believe computers are taking over the world, and I welcome that personally. This is my feeling. I know a lot of people don't, but heck, I think it's a great thing. It's taken a lot of the slave positions away, and if we can get away from this economic system of the monetary system and work within computers rather than working against it, I personally believe, and this is just that, a personal belief, that the economic system can work better for every human on this planet. But it's interesting because we've seen Ken Jennings and Brad Rutter get their butts destroyed by a computer as they're the champions. So now what I'd like to do is take a look at all of what I call the champions as far as trying to figure out why silver is a good investment, why maybe the currency really has no choice but to go to oblivion. And, well, I know I can listen to what Gerald Salente has to say, what James Turk has to say, what David Morgan has to say, and the list of people go on and on. But what does Watson have to say about this? Because we're at the point now where we can tell a computer, all we're going to tell the computer is how to learn. That's it. How do you learn? And then you give it a topic. Say you give it a topic like, say, be a really good chess player. And that's it. So now the computer would have to find out what chess is. Because it'd have no idea, because all the computer knows is how to learn. So then it finds out what chess is, and then whatever it needs to come across, it will find out, and then be able to beat every grandmaster. That's where we are currently in the stages today. So let's tell a computer, well, what's the strength of the currency? And then the computer's like, well, what's currency? What's strength? It has to find out what currency is. It has to find out what strength is. It finds out millions and billions of different things within its algorithmic formulas. And ta-da. So thank you for watching, and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.